Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna, and here basically we are discussing about the currencies part basically. So here basically we are discussing that how basically the currencies can be matrix. So one person told that basically we are basically having the currencies diagram basically, and currencies diagram are basically connected with the currencies diagram basically are connected with the countries to country. One person told that basically USA basically dollar is there, so USA dollar basically is connected with many countries basically. So that basically depends upon the investment basically they have done, and investment basically they have done on the base of certain energy basically, that the few metrics basically are created. For example, India and USA basically is there, right? So India and USA basically has few metrics basically, because of the thing basically is like this basically, the uh, when each and every country's energy basically goes into your body basically, it's going to generate some energy, right? So that energy basically it's not supposed to affect to any of the body parts basically. That is the basically main thing, and basically rest of thing basically there might be some energies also basically which might be generating. So that is also basically thing basically. So here basically we will see some examples basically related to currencies handling basically. A few examples we have already taken of the Indian investment basically, which is done long before, and USA investment basically done long before. According to that, basically the currencies basically are basically getting handled, right? The currencies basically are getting handled. For example, I will take one example. For example, today basically uh, $1 equal to 83.39 paisa. So 83.39 paisa is the rate of the today, that is basically 28th November basically, and 28th November, and time is basically 11:25. So this is basically the time basically where basically the uh, INR basically is compared with the dollar basically. So this basically data basically might have came yesterday. It might be connected that basically the few incidents basically might have happened in India country and basically in USA country. According to that, basically the currency basically has mapped basically. And for this basically incidents basically I have already told that basically Indian political people basically has created more than 3 lakh incidents. USA basically also basically they also basically might have created few incidents basically, because India has invested there basically, right? So if India has invested there basically, that means incidents should be incidents is going to create according to that only basically. So that the USA political people basically might have created. So it's not it's basically not like that, that basically the USA has invested in India, so whatever incidents basically related to USA investment basically, that basically USA political people are not going to design. That only India political people are going to design. Basically, few people says that basically it might possible that USA people also basically can design the incidents basically, right? Because it's their investment. Then one person told that basically, but land basically is of India basically. Land basically is of India basically. Say one best example basically I can give. The in basically Maharashtra basically in Mumbai basically, the number plates basically are Maharashtrian, right? So they say that basically it's a Maharashtrian land basically, it's a Marathis land basically, Maharashtrian land. So the things basically has to be according to the Maharashtra basically, not supposed to be according to the other states basically, because it's Maharashtra country. Sorry, it's Maharashtra state basically, Marathi states basically. So the Mumbai city basically says that basically the it's the number plates basically should be according to the Maharashtrian style basically. So they have designed that. So that is basically connecting to this topic only basically. So USA incidents basically, India incidents equal to USA incidents. So if USA has invested around $50,000 basically, the sorry 50 around, as I assume that basically 5 lakh dollar basically, 5 lakh crore dollar basically in India, just taking as an example basically. So USA basically might say that basically we will create the incidents, but they say if the few Indian basically people says that basically you should know the Indian rule basically if you are creating the investment, then they told that basically we can create our representative there basically. Then basically what, then he told that basically if you want to create like this basically, so few incidents basically has created like this also. So their representative are who basically, so their representative are basically the Indian businessman who basically takes the investment, who basically takes the money from the dollar basically, that is the USA. So they basically creates the incidents basically on the order of USA government basically. So USA government basically gives the order that you have to create this all incidents, and you basically know each and every rules and regulation. So India told that basically okay, that would be fine basically. So the investment basically like this basically connected with each other, that is with the Indian businessmen basically doing the business of USA basically, and the USA basically told that like this basically in 3 lakh basically incidents, like this investment like this incidents basically has been created. So that count also basically might be there. So assume that 80,000 incidents is created on the base of India investment to USA and USA investment to India. Like this basically assume that basically few 800 700 investment basically is created by USA directly by the USA government on the base of the Indian businessmen. So Indian businessmen basically are controlled by the political people, and they basically never allow the businessmen to cross the boundary basically. So if they cross the boundary, then basically the government will be responsible for this basically. If they cross the rules and regulation, then also basically the government is only going to be responsible for that. Reason, government basically is handling the businessmen basically, and businessmen are basically handled by the USA political people basically. So basically why, because they want to earn the money in dollar basically. So they are earning the money in dollar basically, but few things basically USA is basically also asking to do there. So that basically if you are earning in 83 84 rupees basically, 83.39 from 1 rupee from $1 basically, so you are earning basically 83 85 86 times basically more money na basically by earning the dollar basically, and your basically investment basically is in Indian rupees. So you are earning 83.39 rupees more basically, 83.39 paisa more than the Indian currency basically. So sorry, the $1 equal to 83.39 paisa, right? So you are earning 89 time more basically, 89.39 paisa more time basically money you are earning, more money basically. So if you are earning more, then basically the USA government says that basically you have to do certain level of task of hour also basically. So that task basically they allocates to the businessman basically of Indian businessman, who basically says that basically we are going to do the USA basically government task. For that basically government has already taken the permission basically. When the investment basically is done, and when the businessmen basically say that basically we are doing the business of this government basically, then they basically do the sign with the Indian government and the USA government, then only basically they starts the business. So businessmen basically have to be clear with anybody basically. They should be clear more than the government basically. They should be clear more than the government basically. That's why basically they are businessmen basically. That's why basically they are businessmen. And government basically has to be always clear basically according to the rules and regulation, because the land is basically getting used by the USA government basically. So like this basically things are also basically there. So this is basically, for this basically there are thousands of books and thousands of law books are created, thousands of demand and supply books are created, thousands of incidents basically, more than 3 lakh incidents basically has created. And for the incidents basically created with the practical examples basically that are also basically written in the books basically, like this things are also basically created with the rules and regulation. Like this many things basically are created by the set of economists and by the set of political people and by the set of groups basically. So in next video we are going to see a little bit more about this only.